Hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. Today, we're going to talk about the NFC East. The Super Bowl was a week ago. The Philadelphia Eagles lost. They got packed up by the Kansas City Chiefs, something that the New York Giants couldn't do. The Kansas City Chiefs did that. I'm lying. That was a great game. Went all the way down to the end. And at the end of the day, the Kansas City Chiefs were the best team on the field that day and won the Super Bowl. But I will say this, Jalen Hurts showed to a lot of people that he's the future of the Philadelphia Eagles. And listen, I'm an Alabama fan, so I always was a fan of Jalen Hurts. It just so happens to be he plays for the Philadelphia Eagles, a team I hate more than any other team on the planet. But much respect due to a hard-fought season for the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, defense played outstanding the whole year. Jalen Hurts played at an MVP level the whole year, except for the games that he got hurt. Didn't really have a chance, but it's Patrick Mahomes, it's Andy Reid. You know, it's a magician and a wizard in Kansas City making a lot of things happen, a lot of magic. So it's hard to go down there, or it's hard to face that type of team with that type of guy at quarterback, especially with some of the weapons that he still has left over. And matter of fact, he probably is the weapon. He is the engine behind the Kansas City Chiefs, and he is what you call the best quarterback in the league. Now, if you're rating guys as elite, Patrick Mahomes is elite, and then there's everybody else that falls underneath all those different other tiers after that. Because if I'm calling him elite, I can't put anybody else up there next to Patrick Mahomes, just to be honest, especially not right now. People talk Joe Burrow. People talk about, they talk about Justin Herbert. They talk about a whole bunch of guys, but no, it's Patrick Mahomes up here, and then everybody else. Everybody else. Josh Allen. It's Patrick Mahomes up here, and then everybody else. So let's talk about the NFC East. Okay. So obviously the Philadelphia Eagles, number 1 spot, Dallas Cowboys 2, Giants 3, and the Washington Commanders 4. And we've had many discussions. I've talked to a lot of people in the spaces, and we talk about talent up and down the rosters, things like that. And I still agree. As far as the rosters go, top to bottom rosters, the Giants are last in the division in rosters. Just so happens that we have the best coaching staff in the division. And I'm going to say that. We have the coach of the year. Salute to Brian Dable for being the coach of the year. Halfway through the season, we pretty much thought that, you know what, if we keep on going the way that we're going, Brian Dable will be the coach of the year. And then we had a couple of losses in the middle of the season, more than a couple of losses. But then you end the season off with a playoff victory. Go all the way to the division round. Of course, we got stomped in the division round by the Philadelphia Eagles, but still, for the New York Giants to be 4-13 last year and turn it around and be 9-7-1, that's a big turnaround. And to get all the way to the divisional round when nobody even thought you had a chance of making the playoffs, that's big. And salute to Brian Dable, Joe Shane, the rest of that coaching staff, Brandon Brown, the assistant GM. Shout out to everybody that's a part of that building. Now, going into next year, we have to see what's going on, and we have to be honest with ourselves about the New York Giants. Just like Philadelphia has to be honest about Philadelphia. They just lost their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator. Who are they going to replace those guys with? Like I said, I don't follow Philadelphia as closely as I follow the Giants, of course. But I'm curious to see what kind of moves they make. Now, we know they can draft well, but what about that coaching staff? Who are some of the people that they're targeting to bring in as the OC and the DC? And then how does that affect the team? Are they going to hire within? Are they going to look outside for other people? So for me, offense and defense is totally different. For me, continuity matters. So if you're going to do an OC, I'm assuming they're going to hire within for the offensive coordinator position. Now for the defense, I think it's a little bit different. I think you go outside for a guy, for a defensive coordinator. Do you bring back Jim Schwartz? What other guys are out there? You understand? It's a lot of things that can happen with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now that I look at the Dallas Cowboys, they part ways with their OC, and he's now in San Diego. Dan Quinn decided to stay at DC. Pretty much ended his coaching search, or going on interviews. Pretty much deaded that early in the off season. Said he's going to stay with Dallas. Probably going to give that man a lot of money to stay there. But now you have Mike McCarthy figuring out who's going to be the offensive coordinator, for the Dallas Cowboys. And also, Mike McCarthy might be the guy calling the plays. Now, here's my thing with Mike McCarthy. The crazy thing about it, I actually like Ron Rivera a little bit more than Mike McCarthy. I do like that, but we get to see exactly what Mike McCarthy can do. All those years he was with Aaron Rodgers, they got one Super Bowl out of it. You got Aaron Rodgers, the best quarterback in the league, and you only got one Super Bowl over all that time. That's wild to me. So is Mike McCarthy really that good of a coach? We're going to find out. Nobody else can take the heat. He already got rid of the offensive coordinator, so he has to figure out something with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Commanders, that's a whole nother story now. The Commanders, Ron Rivera is staying. They're looking for an offensive coordinator now. They got rid of their old one. I'm hearing that Eric Bieniemy might be coming in for an interview for the Commanders. I actually like that for Eric Bieniemy. Now, I can have another video just about Eric Bieniemy and how he's not getting the head coaching, opportunity that he should. A lot of rumors floating out there about him. Is he a bad interview? Is he a player's coach? Do the players not like him? What's going on? Why can't this man get a head coaching job? And then you also think about Andy Reid, and he's mulling over retirement. And does he want to do that? Is Eric Bieniemy going to stay and wait for Andy Reid to retire and then see if he can get that position or take over for Andy Reid? We'll see what happens. That's how I felt about, what's the guy's name, McDaniels and Bill Belichick. But Bill Belichick's just been there so long, Josh McDaniels can't get a chance to coach the Patriots. But you see what he's doing, man. Every time that man gets a chance, it doesn't look good. And he keeps getting chances. What was it, the Colts? He took the job and then, didn't take the job, and even after doing something like that, they gave him another chance to coach. Versus, you get a lot of these other coaches that don't even get a chance to coach, a real fair chance. And you see Josh McDaniels getting chance after chance, and it's weird to me. But it is what it is. Now with the New York Giants, we already know right now that the OC and the DC are both coming back. So we're going to have that continuity with the offense and the defense. Now it's all about the players. It's all about getting the guys in the building. It's all about the guys that are already returning, and then the guys that we need to get re-signed. So the news today broke that, Isaiah Hodgins, we were able to get him re-signed. A couple days ago, that Cager was able to get re-signed. Anderson, the guard, got re-signed, but really don't care. I remember that game he played in. He was horrible. But I understand you have to fill out the 90-man roster going into training camp. So you're going to see a lot of guys just sign the future contracts and get re-signed. Like a guy like Derek Anderson, that's pretty much going to be a camp body. I mean that with all respect, no disrespect. But sometimes these guys are camp bodies. You have to fill up that 90-man roster going into, the preseason, going into training camp and things like that, the offseason and going into training camp. So I don't, I'm looking at some of these deals like, okay, fine, great. A guy like Jay Sean Corbin, the running back, getting a future contract. David Sills getting a future contract. So, some of these, in some cases, you got guys that have potential and an honest chance of making the team. Other guys, you want to say they have a chance to make the team, but when you really think about it, they're just filling out the roster. But I just like the way that the New York Giants are going to be moving into the next season with the continuity. Now, the big deal is this. What is Joe Shane's thoughts on Daniel Jones? Now, you saw at the end of the season, they had the presser. They're saying that they want Daniel Jones back. They're saying that they want Saquon Barkley back. I haven't really heard what they said about Julian Love. Me, in my personal opinion, I think Julian Love is gone. I think he might have priced himself out. I think he might have played too well, and now He might cost too much money for the Giants to keep, especially when you're looking at Daniel Jones possibly making $35 million. You're talking about Saquon Barkley. We really don't know what he wants exactly, but we know he turned down a deal of $12.5 million at the buy. And, all the rumors are he's looking at like $14 million, which is still better than $16 million, but $14 million. That's all I can say to that. So in the next few weeks, we'll actually see what's going to happen. And then I think it's going to be an interruption. Pause. It's going to be just a tidal wave of disputes, arguments, debates, all that back and forth about, did Joe Shane do the right thing? Did he do the wrong thing? What are these guys thinking? What is Brian Dable going to do? How are we going to approach the draft? There's so much that needs to happen before we can even really think about the draft. And I have fun doing the mock draft. You guys seem to enjoy those videos, and I do put a lot of thought, because I do a lot of research on these players. I watch a lot of tape. I read a lot of analysis that they have online to see if what these guys or what these writers are saying about these guys, if I'm seeing the same things, or if they're seeing something that I'm not seeing, or if I'm seeing something that they're not seeing. I put a lot of work when I'm doing that. And also the simulator is a simulator. I do like the PFF mock draft simulator, because right now it's looking like the most accurate. Still waiting on Draft Network to release their mock draft system or their simulator. Haven't seen that yet, but I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be out right after the combine. And that's another thing. When we do these mock drafts, we have a lot of these analysis and things that we're getting secondhand. We're either watching the tape and then reading about certain measurables that people have, if they're lucky enough to get them at the Shrine Bowl or the Senior Bowl. But everybody that did not participate in the Shrine Bowl or the Senior Bowl and are participating in the combine, you get to see their real measurables: heights, weights, wingspan, the activities that they're going to be participating in. Are the quarterbacks going to throw? Are the receivers going to run the 40? It's just a lot of things that need to go on during the combine before these grades and these rankings, are set in stone with a lot of these draft analysts. And I can't wait for the combine just to get here so we can just see a lot of the guys that we've been pinpointing. And a lot of us do the mock drafts that we've been pinpointing to see how they actually do, at the combine, during the testing, during the interviews, things like that. Because it's a lot of people that I'm eyeballing, and there's a lot of positions. There's a lot of positions out there of need for the New York Giants. There's a lot of holes, man. And outside of it, there being a lot of holes, you got to think about the future and possibly starting to find replacements for certain people like Leonard Williams. We got to find a guy that can play that technique still. A backup for Azeez Ojulari. How healthy can it be? Do we address the edge position in the draft? I think we do, and there's a lot of guys out there. This draft here is pretty deep when it comes to the edge position. Middle linebacker is another point of emphasis. Cornerback is another point of emphasis. It's a lot of things. Wide receivers, interior linemen. The New York Giants have a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. A lot of holes to fill. And I just can't wait. I love this time of the year where you just see all these prospects out there. You're thinking about all these guys and how they could possibly be a New York Giant. And even though they're mock drafts, when I do a mock draft, I'm picturing these guys as New York Giants. I'm picturing these guys in blue. I'm picturing these guys in what role they can play, on the team. And it's just so much fun to me because I'm a draft nerd. I'm just a draft nerd, to be honest. But yeah, man, I want to know what you guys think about, the mock drafts, the combine that's coming up. What are some of your best players or best prospects that you guys are looking at? Some under the radar guys that you've been thinking about. I had a couple people in the comments tell me about a couple people that I didn't even really watch or know about, and I appreciate that, because what I do is I go back and I look at these guys too. One guy told me about DJ Turner, cornerback from Michigan. Knew about him a little bit, but went back to watch him to see how he played. Ended up liking him, and the list goes on and on. I'm hearing about a lot of people out there. You guys are sharing a lot of thoughts about the people out there, prospects out there, and possible, good guys that the New York Giants can snatch up in the later rounds that can play a role for this team, going for the future. Now, one guy I will say this, because one thing has been bothering about the New York Giants for a while now. Now we're on track with the offense. We're trying to get on track with the defense. Special teams is still an issue, in my opinion, as well. Coach, but when's the last time you remember the New York Giants returning a punt or a kick return for a touchdown? It's been a long time. So one name I want to say that might be there in the later rounds, it's a guy from TCU, a guy's named Darius Davis, and that's Derius. Darius Davis. When you get a chance, watch that guy. Super fast, very agile, a monster when it comes to the return game. And I think that the New York Giants need something like that in special teams. We need to offer something. We need a burst. I love Brightwell, but every time Brightwell returned the kick, it wasn't going anywhere. I know he broke one that might have been for 35 yards, but most of the time it's going over his head or he's getting to like the 20-yard line. So we need a spark in that, and it could just be a revamping of the whole special teams unit, which could happen as well, because the New York Giants only have 40 players under contract going into next year, and that's a lot of holes to fill. That's a lot of spots that you got to get guys in here for. But I just can't wait, because I'm so excited to see how this team shapes up, how the roster forms. And again, we have a big decision coming down the pike about 2 weeks from now. My guess is going to be about 2 weeks. We'll know before free agency starts if Daniel Jones in fact is going to be a New York Giants for years to come. We're going to know for a fact if Saquon Barkley, whether it's the tag or a deal, if he's going to be a New York Giants or not. And I think that's going to be the biggest decision of the offseason, if not in all of football, because I think that's probably one of the most important decisions in the NFL right now, is where's Daniel Jones going to be? Is it going to be a New York Giant, or will another team try to pay this guy a little bit more money than we want to give him? So, again, big decision for the New York Giants. Like I said, this time of year is just the best time of year for me. I'm excited about all the moves that are around the corner. But I want to thank you guys for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.